Welcome back, everyone. Today's topic is going to be about tenses, and it is a part one video, so we'll be focusing on the present tense. So, what are tenses? Tenses are used to depict the time in which an action has occurred. Okay, at what time an action took place, and to depict that, we use tenses. And we have three types of tenses. We might all be aware of this: past, present, and future. Why do we need tenses? So that we are able to express clearly when the action occurred, right? So, for example, if something bad is happening and has actually happened, so you'll have to be clear in expressing when it actually happened. If it is happening now, then someone would help you. If it has happened already, then we would be taking measures to, you know, to not cause further damage of the action that had happened earlier, right? So, getting to the past, present, and future. What is the time right now? I think it's 8. So, whatever is happening right now, 8 o'clock, then it is your present. Whatever happened at 7:59 or before 8 o'clock would be your past. And whatever is going to happen after 8:01, it will be your future. To explain it simply, so past are the events that have already occurred. You cannot go and change that. Present is the current moment or time. You can do anything in your present, whereas future are yet to occur. These are the actions that haven't happened yet. So today we will be focusing on the present tense. And what do you mean by present? Whatever is happening right now. And in present tense, if there is a routine or an action that is happening regularly, would be considered as a present tense. And we have four subtypes in the present tense. First is your simple present, and we have your present continuous, and third would be your present perfect tense, and fourth would be your present perfect continuous. We'll dive deep into every subtype. So, the first, simple present. These are your regular actions, your routine, or facts, universal truths. Universal truths are nothing but facts. For example, the sun rises in the east, right? The what another example can I give you? Mount Everest is the tallest mountain, tallest peak, right? It is a fact. It is not going to change for a while. So those kind of statements are written in simple present tense. And your regular actions, for example, I work out every day, which means the working out is done every single day. It's a part of my routine. If an action is part of your routine, then you would express it in simple present tense. So the formula of simple present tense is quite easy. You will have a subject who is the doer of the action. You will have a verb, the action itself, and to complete the sentence or to add additional information about the action, you have your object. For example, I play football, right? If the subject is a singular noun or pronoun, then you would be adding an S, or sometimes, depending on the verb, you will be adding an ES to the verb. So here the subject is she, he, she, it. Okay, so if it is a he, she, it, or singular noun, then you'd be adding an S to the verb. She plays volleyball. Or if you're talking about one single person, then Maybe we can name that guy as Raju, or we can name the girl as Meera, and we are talking about one single person, and still it would be Meera plays volleyball. Okay. So, in order to form questions using simple present tense, since it is a present tense, right? So, we already have a lecture on when to use do and does. So, if you haven't checked that out, please do. So, here we'd be using do and does in order to form a question. Okay. So, we already know when to use do and we already know when to use does. So to form a question, do plus your subject plus verb plus an object. Do you study lesson or do you drive a car? Okay. If the subject is a singular pronoun or singular noun, then you would be using does. Does she drive a car? Okay. These are all present tense. You are asking if the person knows to do that, if he or she can do it in the current moment. And for negative sentence, it is pretty easy. You just have to add a not to it. Okay. So the question would be, do you draw pictures? Then the answer to that question would be, I do not draw pictures. Okay. And that also depends on the subject. If it is a singular uh, noun or pronoun, then you would be using does. She does not drink tea or she does not draw pictures. Okay, hope that is clear. And you have the second subtype, which is your present continuous tense. This depicts an action that is happening right now. Okay, for example, now I'm teaching you about present tense. This action is happening right now, right? So these kind of sentences are depicted in present continuous. And the formula for this would be a subject. You'll have a subject and you have am is are, and the usage of am is are was where were taught to you yesterday, right? So hope you remember everything. If not, please do check that video out. And you have your verb, the action, and since it is a continuous tense, which means it is happening right now, the verb, for example, if it is come, then you must be adding ing to that verb. So ing form of verb is used. If it is come, then it's coming. If it's eat, it is eating. If it is teach, it is teaching. Okay, and then you will have your object or whatever. So an example of that is I am writing a letter. I am teaching a class. They are playing football, which means the action is happening right now. Okay. So, how do you construct a negative sentence? Simple. Just put a not, right? Just put a not before doing or eating before the actual verb. You just have to include a not. So, I am not teaching. I am not doing my homework. Okay. I am not eating, which means that action is not happening right now. And to form an interrogative sentence, which is nothing but your questions, you can just swap the places of your am is are, your helping verb. You just have to put it in front of the subject and that becomes your question. Simple, right? An example is I am teaching right now. Okay, I am teaching. And if I want to question that, the am would be swapped in front of I. So, am I teaching? Okay, understood? And you have an example over here. Am I doing my homework? And if it is a negative questioning, then it is same. Am I not doing my homework? Okay. Moving to the next subtype, we have present tense. I mean, present perfect tense. Okay. So it is quite easy. So there is an action that we have done in the past. Okay. So, for example, the teacher has given you an homework. Okay, the teacher has given you a homework and she has asked you to complete it, and you will have to submit the assignment tomorrow. Okay, so you go back home, you sit and write assignment, or you just sit and do your homework. And next day morning, the teacher asks you to submit the homework. Okay, so you go and submit the homework. Or if you have not done it, then the teacher is going to send you out of the class. Okay, so if you observed this scenario, doing the homework part was done in the past, right? She has done the homework in the evening, and next day morning there is a consequence. If she has completed the homework, she is able to submit the homework to the teacher, but if she hasn't completed the homework, then she would be sent out of the class. Okay, so there is this action happening in the past, and it has an impact now. In the morning session with the teacher, there is an impact. If she has completed, she is good to go. If she hasn't, then she is out, right? So present perfect is that any action that has been completed in the past, but it has an impact in the present, is when you use a present perfect tense. An example is she has finished her homework. She might have finished it yesterday, she might have finished it 3 days back, but the point now is the homework is complete. The homework is ready for submission, right? So any action that has happened in the past, but it has some relevance to now, to the current scenario, then it is framed into a present perfect tense sentence. So another example is we have seen this movie, which means I might have watched this movie when I was 6 year old, but still I can tell you that I have seen this movie. In the current scenario, that movie is watched, it is done and dusted by me. So it doesn't matter when the action actually happened, but for the moment, the action is complete and it has an impact now, which means I don't have to go and watch the movie again, right? So, to frame sentences, the formula is pretty simple. You would have a subject plus you would have to use have or has depending on the subject. Have is used for uh, I, we, you, they, and has is used for she, has, it, and other singular pronouns. Other singular nouns. Okay, and so subject plus have or has, depending on the subject, plus you will have a verb in its third form. Okay, like you would have uh, learned about V1, V2, V3, like come, came, come, eat, ate, eaten. So eaten would be used here. That is your V3 form. Okay. So again, I'll repeat subject plus have or has, and you will have your verb in its third form plus the rest of the sentence or rest of your object. Okay. So I have finished my work. So she has visited Paris, which means she has already gone to Paris, which has an impact now. And she might have visited in 2020 or 1998, it doesn't matter. But she has already seen Paris. That is what matters now. Okay? And they have eaten dinner. For negative sentences, it is pretty simple. You will just have to include a not immediately after your have or has. So when the action is not complete, then I haven't finished my work. She hasn't visited Paris. They haven't eaten dinner. And for interrogative sentence, again, it's quite simple. Uh, we we have already seen this in our present continuous tense, where you just have to swap places of am, is, are, or was, were in front of your subject. Same happens here, but here you will not be using am, is, are, was, were. Instead, you would have your have or has as your questioning word. So, have I finished my work? Has she visited Paris? Have they eaten dinner? Moving on to the last subtype, which is your present perfect continuous, which is quite easy to understand, and this is one of my favorite subtype. So it shows you that the action was started long back. Okay, the action has already started long back, but the action is still continuing to this moment. Okay, so we are into almost 15 minutes of the class, right? So the action has already started, right? 15 minutes back, which is like 7:45, or yeah, so maybe 8 o'clock. The action has started at 8, and it is 8:15 now, and the action is still continuing. I am still teaching you, right? So in these kind of scenario, present perfect continuous tense is used. Okay, I have been teaching you for 15 minutes, right? The action started in the past and it is still continuing. And this is when present perfect continuous tense comes into play. You can see the example. I have been reading for 2 hours, which means the action was started 2 hours uh, before and it is still continuing. And they have been working on the project since morning. Okay, so more examples. This is just to show you, because people tend to confuse between present perfect tense and present perfect continuous. Present perfect tense is an action that happened in the past. Okay, it is no more continuing in the present, but it has an impact in the present moment. Whereas present perfect continuous is an action that have haven't started in the past, but and it is still continuing. Okay, so just look at the examples of present perfect continuous tense, where I have been running, which means the action started in the past, maybe long back, and but I'm still running, and I have been teaching, and this action also started in the past, but I'm still teaching, right? They have been working. Okay, again, they would have started the work long back, but it is yet to complete, it is still on. So they use a present perfect continuous to depict that they have been working. We have been talking. Okay, if it is a present perfect tense, then the action would have already happened in the past, but it has a relevance now, which is we have talked, which means the action has already completed, but it has an impact right now. So we have talked. But if the action is still continuing, then you use present perfect continuous. We have been talking. The talk is still on. Okay, this your activity time. Hope it was pretty easy for you to understand. If there are any suggestions or feedbacks, or if you have any queries, please do reach out to us. And yes, you have 6 questions as your assignment. Okay. Uh, you just have to, I have given you the verb, and you already know uh, the formula for each subtype, right? Just try to read the sentence, understand when it is, when the action happened or when the action is happening. Okay, and according to that, you have learned 4 subtypes today, and just implement the formula and try to solve these. I'm happy to solve the first one for you, maybe just as an example, so that you would be able to work through the next 5. If you see the first one, I, and the action over here is read a book right now. Okay, right now means the action is happening right now. Yes, in the moment. So, what do you think would be the appropriate one? Let's go through each subtypes. First subtypes would be your simple present tense, right? So, if it is a simple present tense, it should be a routine, right? If it is a routine, then the rest of the sentence should not have a time depicted to it. The time means right now is indicating time, right? It is happening right now. So simple present tense usually doesn't do that, because it is your routine. You just don't mention any kind of time. So no for the simple present tense. And for present perfect, what happens, the action has already happened, and it just has a relevance to the current moment. So right now doesn't mean that the action has already happened, right? So yeah, present perfect is out of option right now. And for present perfect continuous tense, um, you again, present perfect continuous tense would not say right now. Okay, it should mention like, okay, this happened in the past and it is still continuing. So maybe like for 3 nights, for 2 hours, for a month. Yes, that would be the correct way of expressing a present perfect continuous, not right now. Right now is, which means the action is happening at the moment, which would be your present continuous. So I am reading a book right now. Okay. So I have the answers for you, but please don't cheat. Please don't look into the answers. Just try to solve the remaining 5 questions. And yeah, that's it for today's class. Hope you have understood. And if you have any doubts, yeah, please reach out to us. And thank you so much for your time.